It's a Tuesday night. You open your banking app, not because you need to, but because it's become a quiet habit. The kind that forms when money sits in the background of your life as a constant. Low-level pressure that never fully goes away. You earn a decent salary. You're contributing to your 401k. You pay your credit card in full every month. On paper, everything looks right. You're doing exactly what you were told responsible people do. And still, the number on the screen looks almost the same as it did 3 months ago. Not worse, not better, just stuck. It's not dramatic enough to panic. But it's not improving enough to feel progress either. And that's where the discomfort starts, because you can't point to a clear mistake, yet something feels off. Over time, your financial life starts to feel like a system that runs on autopilot. Money comes in, money goes out, and somehow it balances itself in a way that keeps you stable, but never really ahead. Like a lake being filled and drained at the exact same rate. And no one ever tells you that this can be a problem, because from the outside, everything looks fine. The bills are paid, the lifestyle is normal, there's no visible sign that anything is wrong. Until something breaks that illusion. Last week, someone from your office quietly stopped showing up. Same company, similar role, roughly the same salary, maybe just a year older than you. They retired at 51. No big inheritance, no lucky investment story. They just stopped working. Said they had enough. And that moment sticks with you longer than you expect. Because it doesn't line up with what you've always believed. People like that aren't supposed to exist, not in your environment. Not on a normal salary, not without some kind of extreme advantage. So you start asking the question you can't quite shake: how? How does someone walk away decades early, while everyone else keeps going? That's the strange part about unconventional paths. You don't really see them while they're happening. There's no obvious signal, no announcement. From the outside, everything looks normal. Until suddenly, it isn't. And by the time you notice, the gap is already there. This video is about that gap. What actually creates it, and what it quietly costs to keep following the version of financial advice most people accept without ever questioning. Because the truth is, most people aren't careless with money. They're not reckless or uninformed. In fact, many of them are doing exactly what they were taught. They save a portion of their income. They avoid obvious debt traps. They try to make smart decisions. And still, years go by without any real sense of momentum. That's not a discipline problem. It's a structure problem. My name is Nick, and I've spent a lot of time trying to understand why two people can follow almost the same life path and still end up in completely different financial realities. If you've ever felt like you're doing everything right but something still doesn't quite add up, you're not alone. Because today, we're going to go step by step through what most people consider the safe, responsible financial playbook. And when you actually break down the numbers behind it, some of the conclusions are uncomfortable. I'm not a financial advisor. This isn't financial advice. I'm just someone who pays attention to the math and thinks more people should see what it's really saying. So let's start with something simple. Imagine two people. Both are 32 years old. Both live in the same city. Both earn roughly the same income. From the outside, their lives look almost identical. But the way they handle money is slightly different. And over time, those small differences don't stay small. They turn into something much bigger. Imagine two people. Both are 32 years old. Both live in the same city. Both earn roughly the same income. From the outside, their lives look almost identical. But the way they handle money is slightly different. One of them follows the traditional path almost perfectly. Stable job. Bought a home in their late 20s because that's what they were told made sense. Drives a relatively new car with a monthly payment that feels manageable. Has a financial advisor who checks in a couple of times a year and reassures them that everything is on track. Saves around 10% of their income. Uses a rewards credit card and pays it off every month. Nothing extreme, nothing irresponsible, just doing what sounds right. The other person looks similar on the surface, but makes a few different choices. They rent instead of buying. Drive a slightly older, reliable car they paid for upfront. They don't use a financial advisor. Instead, they invest a larger portion of their income into simple index funds and leave it alone. Their lifestyle isn't extreme, it just runs on a bit more intention. To most people, the first person looks more successful. They have the house, the newer car, the sense of structure, the visible signs of progress that people recognize and respect. The second person, on the other hand, looks a little unusual. No house yet. Older car. Less outward proof of financial success. Even friends and family might question their choices from time to time. But over time, something interesting starts to happen. The gap begins to form. And it doesn't happen all at once, it builds slowly, quietly, almost invisibly. Because the real difference isn't income. It's not intelligence. It's not even discipline in the way most people think about it. It comes down to one simple idea. What percentage of your life are you actually keeping? The traditional approach usually starts with spending, and then saves what's left. And most of the time, what's left isn't much. Not because someone is careless, but because life naturally expands to fill the space you give it. A slightly better car, a slightly nicer place, a few more comforts here and there, and suddenly, saving becomes something you try to do instead of something that's built into the system. So 10% feels responsible. It sounds like a real commitment. It's the number you hear repeated everywhere: financial articles, advice from family, general rules that no one really questions. But when you actually run the numbers over time, something uncomfortable shows up. It's not that 10% is wrong. It's that it may not be enough for the outcome most people expect. Because while your savings grow slowly in the background, your expenses don't stay the same. They grow too, gradually but consistently. And that creates a quiet gap between what you'll have and what you'll eventually need. The second person approaches this differently. They don't treat saving as something that happens after spending. They treat it as the starting point. A fixed percentage, much higher than average, gets invested automatically before they ever see it. What's left is what they live on. And that one shift changes everything. Not overnight, but over years. Because when a larger portion of your income is consistently invested, it doesn't just grow, it compounds. And compounding doesn't feel dramatic in the beginning. It feels slow, almost unnoticeable, until one day, it isn't. That's when the gap becomes real. And once it starts, it doesn't stay small.